Good evening. Let your shoulders drop just a little. If you are lying down, let your body feel the weight of the bed beneath you. Let your hands rest. Let your jaw unclench if it was clenching without you noticing. There is nowhere to be right now. Tonight, we are going to think about one simple number. A number that is yours and only yours. A number that tells a quiet story about where you stand in the world, financially speaking. We are not going to rush through this. We are going to turn it over slowly, the way you might turn a smooth stone in your hand, just feeling the shape of it. So settle in. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. And let us begin. You have probably heard the phrase before, net worth. It sounds like something for very wealthy people. It sounds like something for a spreadsheet, or a financial advisor's office, or a business news channel you only half listen to. But net worth is not a complicated thing. It is actually one of the simplest ideas in all of personal finance. It is this: what you own minus what you owe. That is it. Everything you own, your savings, your investments, your car, your home if you have one, the few $100s sitting in a checking account, added up. And then everything you owe, your loans, your credit card balances, your mortgage, any debt of any kind subtracted from that sum. What remains is your net worth. It is a single number, and it tells you, more honestly than almost any other number, exactly where you stand. Not where you feel like you stand, not where you think you should be, where you actually are. There is something grounding about that, something almost restful once you sit with it. Let us take the first half slowly. What do you own? When you think about what you own, the first things that come to mind might be the obvious ones. A bank account, a savings account, maybe a retirement account through work. These are all part of it. But what you own is broader than that. If you own a car, that is part of what you own. It has a value, a rough number you could look up if you wanted to know it, and that value counts. If you own a home or any piece of land, that too counts. Whatever the current market might say it is worth, that is part of what you have. If you have money in any kind of investment account, even a modest one, even one you have not looked at in a while, that is yours. That counts. If you have a pension that will one day pay you a monthly amount, that is a kind of asset too. It is harder to translate into a single number, but the value is real. Now, most of us do not have all of these things, and that is completely fine. Most people start with very little in the assets column. A checking account with a few $100s. Maybe a car that is getting old. Maybe some money in a retirement account they have barely touched. You work with what you have. The point is not to have an impressive list tonight. The point is just to understand what is on your side of the ledger. What belongs to you. What you have gathered, even quietly, even slowly, over the years. Think of it like looking around a room you live in. You are not judging what you see. You are just noticing it, getting an honest sense of what is there. Now the other side. What you owe is just as important to understand as what you own. Maybe more so, because debt is the thing that can quietly shrink your net worth without you noticing, if you do not pay attention to it. What you owe includes everything you are obligated to pay back to someone else. A car loan, a student loan, a mortgage on your home, a balance on a credit card, a personal loan you took out a few years ago, medical debt, even money you borrowed from a family member and mean to pay back. All of it counts. And when you add it up, you subtract it from what you own. If what you own is larger than what you owe, and for many people, it is, even if only by a little, then your net worth is a positive number. You have more going for you than against you, financially speaking. If what you owe is currently larger than what you own, your net worth might be negative right now. That is more common than people realize. Many people begin their adult lives in the negative: student loans, a car payment, nothing much in savings yet. A negative net worth is not a crisis. It is a starting point. It does not tell you who you are. It does not tell you where you are going. It just tells you where you are standing right now. And knowing where you stand, honestly, clearly, is the beginning of something good. Here is the thing about net worth that makes it especially worth knowing. Most of the other numbers people focus on: their salary, their monthly spending, how much they paid for their car, what their bonus was last year. Those numbers only tell you part of the story. Your salary tells you what comes in, but it does not tell you what stays. Your monthly spending tells you what goes out, but it does not tell you what you have built. Net worth is the number that shows you what has actually accumulated, what has stayed, what belongs to you after everything has been counted and everything owed has been subtracted. It is a snapshot, and like all snapshots, it captures something the other numbers do not. Think of it this way. Imagine two people. They both earn roughly the same salary. They live in the same kind of neighborhood. From the outside, their lives look similar. But one of them has spent 20 years saving a little each month, keeping debt low, letting their investments quietly grow. The other has spent 20 years spending everything that came in, carrying balances, starting over more than once. Their incomes look the same, but their net worth tells a very different story. Net worth is the cumulative number. It is the number that accounts for not just what happened this month, but what happened every month before it. Every good decision quietly compounding. Every debt paid off, gone from the ledger. Every dollar saved, added to the total. It is the long game number. And because it is the long game number, it rewards patience in a way that most financial measurements do not. Let us slow down here, because this part is worth staying with. When you save a little money, even a very small amount, and it sits in an account, it does not simply sit there unchanged. Most accounts, most investments, pay you something just for leaving the money there. A return, a little extra added on top. And then, the next time that little extra is calculated, it is calculated on the larger amount, on the original money plus the little extra that was added before. This is a soft, slow, gentle process. It does not feel dramatic month to month. It does not look like much in the first year, or the second, or the fifth. But over a long time, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it changes the shape of things. A small amount, left to grow without being touched, becomes something meaningfully larger. Not because anything clever happened, not because anyone made a big move, simply because of time, simply because the growth itself had room to grow. And every time you add to that savings, Every time you put a little more in or pay off a little more debt, you are nudging that number upward. Net worth grows this way, slowly, steadily, almost invisibly at first. Some months you will look, and it will seem like nothing has changed. Some months it will even dip a little because markets move, or because life brought an unexpected expense. But over time, if you are patient, the direction tends to be upward. And the upward direction is what matters. When you understand what net worth is, you might begin to check it from time to time. Not obsessively, not every day, but perhaps a few times a year, maybe once a season. You add up what you have. You subtract what you owe. You write down the number or note it somewhere quiet. And then you wait. Months pass. You keep doing what you do. You earn. You spend what you need to spend. You save what you can. You make your debt payments. And when you check again, something small will likely have shifted. Maybe your savings account has a little more in it. Maybe your investment account is a few dollars higher than it was. Maybe one of your loans is a little smaller. The total is a little different. Not dramatically different most of the time. Not life-changing in a single season, but different, and the difference is yours. This is one of the quiet pleasures of tracking net worth. Not the excitement of watching a number spike. That kind of excitement tends to come with equal and opposite anxiety when things dip. But the steady, gentle satisfaction of watching a number trend, like watching a plant grow. You do not stand over the plant every hour, measuring the stem, worrying whether it will reach the light. You water it. You give it a good spot. And you trust that time is doing its work, even when you cannot see it happening. Net worth grows the same way. Here is something that can be difficult to hear, especially if you are just beginning to pay attention to your financial life. Building net worth takes a long time. Not a few weeks, not even a few years, typically. It takes a sustained effort across many years, often decades. That can feel discouraging when you first sit with it, especially if you feel like you are starting late, or starting from behind, or starting from zero, or below zero. But here is the gentler truth underneath that. The fact that it takes time is actually part of what makes it work. Because you do not need to do anything heroic. You do not need to make a brilliant investment. You do not need to time anything correctly. You do not need to be clever about it. You just need to do the quiet, unremarkable thing. Save a little, owe a little less, invest a little, leave it alone, and then wait. Time does the rest. This is the part of financial life that no one makes advertisements about because it is not exciting. There is no product to sell you. There is no guru to follow. There is just the slow accumulation of small, consistent choices. But that quiet accumulation, practiced with patience, over years and years, is how most ordinary wealth is actually built. Not through windfalls, not through luck or brilliance or timing the market perfectly. Through patience, through consistency, through doing the same unexciting things again and again for long enough that the compounding has time to work. Now let us talk about something that can quietly steal the peace from any financial life. Comparison. We live in a world that makes comparison very easy. We can see what other people own, what they earn, where they travel, what they drive. On social media, on television, in the lives of people around us. And it is very easy to look at those images and feel, somewhere in the chest, a small pull of insufficiency, a sense that your number is not enough, that you are behind, that others have more, are doing better, have figured something out that you have not. This feeling is very human. It is also very misleading. Here is what those comparisons almost never show you. They do not show you what others owe. They do not show you the debt behind the lifestyle. They do not show you the stress, the worry, the feeling of financial fragility that can live just beneath the surface of an impressive-looking life. They show you the assets side of someone's ledger, and they hide the liabilities. And even if someone genuinely has a higher net worth than you, many people do, and many people have fewer, that number is the result of their specific story, their starting point, their opportunities, their luck, their choices, their time horizon. It is not a measurement of how well you are doing in your own story. Your net worth is a personal number. It belongs to you. It tracks your progress from your starting point across your years toward your own version of security and ease. Comparing it to anyone else's is like comparing a diary to someone else's diary. The words are not meant to be measured against each other. You are only in competition with your own past. And if your net worth today is a little higher than it was a year ago, even a small amount higher, that is success. That is movement in the right direction. That is enough. You might be wondering, what is a good net worth? And the answer is both simpler and more frustrating than you might like. A good net worth is one that is higher than it was. That is really the honest answer. There are all kinds of benchmarks floating around. Suggestions about how much you should have saved by certain ages. Rough rules of thumb that suggest you should have some multiple of your salary set aside by 40 or 50 or 60. Some of these are interesting to think about. Some of them are useful as loose guides, as a sense of whether you are in the general ballpark. But they are not meant to be precise measures of success or failure. They are averages built from many different people in many different circumstances. They do not know your particular life. They do not know what you have been through. They do not account for the full texture of your story. What they can do is give you a soft, directional sense. Are you saving something? Are your debts trending downward? Is the gap between what you own and what you owe getting wider, even slowly? If yes, you are doing it right, even if the number is small. Even if it is smaller than you wish it were. The direction matters more than the level. A small net worth growing gently is far more promising than a large net worth sitting still or declining. Because the growing one has momentum, it has the habit of growth built into it. And habits, once established, tend to continue. There is a particular kind of peace that comes from knowing your number. Not from having a large number, though that peace has its own flavor, to be sure, but from simply knowing what your number is, from having looked honestly at what you own and what you owe, and arrived at the result. Many people go years without ever doing this, without ever sitting down and doing the quiet arithmetic of their own financial life. And in that space, in that not knowing, anxiety can grow. Vague worries about money, a sense of unease that does not have a specific shape because there is no specific information to anchor it to. Knowing your net worth does not make the anxieties disappear, but it gives them a shape. It turns the fog into something you can actually look at. And once you can look at something honestly, you can work with it. You can set a gentle intention. You can notice progress. You can feel the small, real satisfaction of watching the number move in the right direction. Even a small number, known and tended to, is better than a large unknown. Even a negative number, looked at clearly and worked on patiently, will improve over time. The knowing itself is a kind of power, a quiet, unassuming power, the kind that does not need to announce itself. You have been thinking about your net worth tonight. Not anxiously, I hope. Not with the clenched jaw kind of thinking. The soft kind. The kind that lets information settle gently without demanding action. What you own minus what you owe. One number, your number. It does not define you. It does not tell your whole story, but it does tell you something true about where you stand, financially speaking. And where you stand is always a good thing to know. If your number is positive, let yourself feel a quiet satisfaction in that. It represents every good decision that was made, every dollar saved, every debt paid down, every patient month of letting things grow. If your number is negative or smaller than you would like, let that be information, not judgment. It is a starting point, and starting points are just that, the beginning of a direction. They are not the end of anything. The direction is what matters. The direction and the patience to hold it over time. You do not need to do anything tonight. There is nothing to fix, nothing to calculate, nothing to worry into shape. The only thing to do tonight is rest. Let your body be heavy. Let your breath slow. Let the idea of net worth, of what you own, minus what you owe, slowly growing, sit quietly somewhere in the back of your mind, soft and unhurried. It will still be there in the morning. And so will you. Good night.